There it is, James Gunn, DC Studios. It's just been everywhere. You cannot get onto social media today without seeing this image pop up in your feed. This is the first official look at David Corenswet in the costume. First off, it was all done in camera, so this is not some kind of CGI computer generated imagery. James Gunn says straight up on his, I think it was Threads social media account, the above photo was taken on set by Jess Miglio and was entirely in camera. So I'm not sure what that is in the background, a painting or whatever they have that they're using there. But let's discuss the background first. Firstly, is this Clark Kent's apartment? And geez, how much does he earn a salary to have an apartment that high in Metropolis? And secondly, is that what I think it is in the background? A DC huge thing that I don't know if it's one of the villains. Is it an eyeball? Is it a sun eater?
Yeah,
Um,
it that was the first thing that caught my eye was that it's just like you see the costume and then you're like, oh, there's something destructive in the background destroying the city. Isn't that interesting? Um, it could be Solaris or it could be Brainiac. 50-50 on that, I would think. Um, Solaris would make sense. James Gunn did mention that All Star Superman was an inspiration, and Solaris is a Grant Morrison thing. But maybe it's Brainiac too.
my first impression was it's just used as a background. It might not actually be a part of the movie.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, I could be wrong on that, but I mean, yeah, maybe it's a hint of something that's going to happen in the movie. But I just got the idea that this whole thing set up just to give us the glimpse of this costume.
Right, where when
That
we saw Man of Steel, we saw Henry Cavill in front of that bank vault. That was the image that we first got of the costume reveal for that film back in 2011. That image came out. I was looking it up today, and that actually does appear in the movie. That scene where he's fighting Feora, but yeah, whether or not this is actually from the movie or if it's just set up for a costume reveal, I don't know. I have seen a few people comment about it looks like cosplay. It looks like AI. Like, make up your mind. Which is it? Is it computer generated or is it, a fan sitting in a costume? Before we get into the design of the costume, I've also seen people going, well, if that's happening in the background, why is he taking so long to put his costume on? Shouldn't he be out there already? And again, we don't know if this is actually part of the movie, like you said, Mark. It could just be set up for the photo reveal. But
right?
it's nice to see that Superman puts his boots on one foot at a time.
No,
Well, here's why I think it's something from the movie. If you look at the symbol, it looks singed. It looks damaged.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Like
It does look like it's
yeah,
dirty or that there is some damage there.
so, to
yeah,
me, when I saw that and I saw the thing in the background, my thought was, this is him after suffering a defeat. He's getting back into costume to go take on the bad guy, which is an interesting first picture to release. But yeah, that was the only reason I thought that. Now it could be just shading, but that does look like there's like soot and burn marks on it.
I agree. Totally agree. All right, well, let's have a look at it step by step. But let's start, as we usually do when we're doing a costume analysis, with the cape. Obviously, here we can't see much of the cape other than the fact that it is attached on the shoulders rather than going under the collar. We'll get to the collar in a second. It is red. It is material. It looks pretty long because it is draped on the floor there. Um, Thoughts on the cape to start with, Michael?
Um, I really, it's a bit new 52 ish, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like that it's a dark red, and I do like, as you said, looks really long because it's draped to the floor. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it is when he's actually stood up with it on, in a more to get a better sense of it. But so far, I don't mind. Dean Cain's second costume with those shoulder pads set a really low bar.
Hmm.
So anything that isn't that, I tend to accept.
Or the belt clasps, like in Supergirl season one. Oh, sorry, the first costume that Tyler Hoechlin wore in the Supergirl series with those clasps coming over the shoulder. Anything is preferable to that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, do you think the S needs to be on the back of the cape?
I would like the S to be on the back of the cape. I think that's pretty, at this point, kind of traditional. So I would love to see that. Now, whether it's there or not, I don't know. We'll find out eventually. But I think it should be.
Hmm. And your thoughts on the rest of it, the cape?
Well, I like the color as well. It does look pretty long. Again, until we see the whole, either in action or head to toe or what have you, we can't give an exact, opinion on it. But I don't know if I love so much it's coming from the shoulders and not the, underneath by the neck. But again, like you said, much better than those clasps from Supergirl. I mean, that was the one thing that I really did not like in that whole, when they first introduced him. But look, it's going to be different. It's going to be different from other suits, and they want it to come, they want it to be a certain way. So as of right now, I think it looks fine. I have no problem with it.
So let's get into the fact that looking at the body of the costume, and there's been a few things. Obviously, the neckline. We've been talking about the fact that the cape doesn't tuck under, and that's because obviously this is a higher collar type design, very reminiscent of the New 52, as we saw from the super chat. Thanks to Andrew Medley. Um, I'm not a big fan of the higher collar. I wasn't a big fan of that design in the New 52. First, I'm a very practical person. Um, I, how does Clark Kent hide this under his suit shirt? I can understand he's got a tie and collar, so maybe it fits underneath. I don't know, but I also saw people saying it looks very loose around the shoulders and it's not form fitting and that kind of stuff. He is leaning forward. He is reaching forward, and the material seems not necessarily. It seems more leather-like, more solid as a material rather than fabric. Michael, what are your thoughts on both the neckline and the fabric of the body?
It's got that texture look that I'm lukewarm on. It's funny. It's amazing how the older I get, the softer I get on things. I wasn't the biggest fan of the New 52 suit, but I do over time. I kind of got used to it. I kind of didn't come to love it so much as like, it's not a bad design. I saw a lot of people complaining about the collar today, which almost makes me not want to complain about the collar, if that makes any sense, because it's just like, do I want to join that chorus or not? If I mean, there's a chance that it's like the New 52 suit where he taps a button and the costume spits out like he's Sailor Moon or something. But I like that the material doesn't look that it looks real. The fact that it's wrinkling means that it's not super molded, and it was kind of my problem with the Henry Cavill suit. Is it looked like it was snapped onto him, like it was plastic. Like, you remember that the Clark Kent disguise action figure from the Superman animated line where you snapped Clark Kent over
On top of
the Superman suit? That's kind of what this makes me feel. That's kind of what the Cavill costume kind of made me feel like. Whereas this looks textured, which I'm not a big fan of, but more natural. I'm wondering why they went with a high collar, and the only thing I could come up with is that they tried to design a costume that incorporated elements like from across Superman's history.
I was
So
thinking
this
the
is
same thing.
Yeah.
So the cape and the collar are more like, okay, this is the New 52 look. and that's where they decided to put that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's like we'll get it to all the rest of the costume in a second, but yeah, you've got the collar and the cape, New 52. You've got the Kingdom Come style S. You've got, we'll get to the trunks and the belt in a second. That's very classic. You got the long cape. You got the different style of boots, which are almost, I don't want to say it, but nearly Superman Returns style. Although they do have a New 52 feel as well. There's a lot of different elements in there from a lot of different costumes. So I did see some snarky remarks about it doesn't know which one it wants to be, but I think it's trying to pay tribute to many different ones. Mark, what are your thoughts on the body and the material of the costume?
Okay, first the collar. Wasn't with the New 52 costume, was not a fan of that. Was not a fan of the collar there. I don't mind it here. Would I like it to be a little lower? Sure, but I don't think it looks. I don't think it looks that bad. And also, you could say I'm wrong, but I'm getting a little bit of an impression. If you remember Superman Earth One, the J. Michael Straczynski
Yes, yes.
series, it was a little more realistic. It was a little rougher, you know. And I'm kind of getting that sense a little bit.
Hmm.
Um,
And there is those kind of design
the arms and the
lines.
shoulders.
Yeah, you're right. The shoulders area. But there are those design lines that have become more common in superhero material these days. There's not just a plain blue. So yeah, it's very interesting. We got a super chat from John Patrick Van Pelt. What type of cape are we looking at since Superman has so many different ones? Well, we'll kind of discuss the cape, that it just looks like a material cape, a fabric, rather than any kind of pleather look that we got in Superman Returns. So very interesting there. All right, so that's the body. The S shield, we've discussed a little bit before in previous episodes about the S shield. As I said, it's very Kingdom Come. I like the size of it. It's not small like we complained about with Superman Returns symbol. It's not sitting bulked out like we did get with the Superman Returns symbol either. It's part of the costume, part of the material. So thoughts on Michael on the shield?
When the shield was revealed, that's when I was on hiatus, and I seem to be like one of the few people that liked it. I saw so many people complaining about it, and so many people saying, "Well, that's not the real Superman." And I'm like, I don't know. It's red. It's yellow. It's looks like an S. I think the Kingdom Come Superman is Alex Ross's greatest Superman. In all honesty, I always preferred it to his more classic looking version. And seeing it, I'm like, okay, this is a new Superman that, yes, is honoring the past, but it's also trying to be its own thing. So why not differentiate yourself from the past? Also, this S at no point could be broken apart and used as knives. So right there, to me, that's a positive. I like the S. And like you, Steve, I like how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it fills the chest. I like big S. I cannot lie, I guess.
Mark.
No, I like the size too. I like it. I mean, I don't like it. There were certain costumes, I guess, where the S was just literally draped almost from the shoulders to it's not that big, and I'm glad. I like that size. It's just the right size. Superman Returns was way too small. And other versions have gone a little smaller, a little bigger. This to me is just right. When I'm looking at Superman, when I'm reading the comics, to me it's just about that size S, I think, on his chest, and I like it.
And look, all those complaints we saw about the Kingdom Come, it doesn't look like an S. It looks like the Ghostbuster symbol, with the kind of blocked out, no kind of do not enter type of thing. It's still very much, the colors, the sitting on the blue. It's you can't go past. It's Superman. Like that still says Superman to me. It's not the traditional S. We don't have the serifs on the top and the bottom like we've talked about before. But it's still, when you see it in the costume, it still says Superman to me. So I'm still a big fan of the way it looks. But yeah, definitely here. Obviously, people talk about the colors. You can see that it's muted because it's, as Michael said, scorch marks, dirt marks, whatever it might be. There are, but you can look at the legs and you can see that his knee area and that is still very much a vibrant blue. So the top half of it has been darkened because of the fact that there are scorch marks or burn marks or dirt marks or whatever it might be. So that's fine by me. All right, so we move down to the fact the trunks and the belt. You can't see them here to really give a proper analysis of it, but you can see that there is a yellow belt and you can see that there are red trunks underneath it. So huge news, really, when you talk about a costume design for Superman. After so many years, the trunks are back. Michael.
I had to mourn the trunks back in 2011 when they got rid of them. And I know that sounds silly, but it almost happened. I have the opinion that the trunks, they're like ice cream with cake. If I'm having a piece of cake and someone offers me ice cream, I'm probably going to say, yeah, I'll have some ice cream with that. If not, the cake's pretty good on its own. I like the trunks. I like that classic look. So I am happy to see them here, but I'm not like falling all over myself saying, oh, thank God they're back.
Right.
I just like that they're back because, as we were talking before, if you're trying to do something that's kind of reminiscent and of all of his costumes, then having the trunks, which were there for over 70 years, would be a way to do that. And I like the fact that he's got an actual belt. That was my biggest problem with Cavill's costume, which I liked overall, was that nothing broke up the middle. And it looks like when this dude stands up, that costume is going to have a definitive top and bottom with the trunks and the belt kind of breaking that up.
Mark, are you happy that the trunks are back?
Oh, I'm very, very happy that the trunks are back. If there were no trunks, I wouldn't be decrying or anything. But no, I'm very happy that they're trunks. I feel James Gunn seems to really want to, on the one hand, stick to some classic versions. At the same time, he wants to do some things that are different. But I would have been very, very surprised if there were no trunks. I am very happy it's there. Again, if it wasn't, that'd be fine. But bringing them back is, especially in live action, I think is a great thing.
Bibbo.
Well, I'm just glad that my favorite's back on the screen. And why is Bibbo like Jesse Ventura? What am I doing there? I like the cape. I like the S. Now I got to buy a new S symbol shirt, so that's going to cost me some money. But at least I can redecorate the bar and have everything look good.
Very good. Thank you, Bibbo. And thank you, Venkman, for asking Bibbo for his analysis of the costume. All right, so now we get down to the boots. And this photo is kind of directing our attention to the boots because David Corenswet's huge man hands are putting on those red boots. The veins are popping. He's got huge hands. And you know what they say, big hands, big feet. So it's... Look, looking at the red boots, they come up just high enough for me. Looking at the left foot because he's still putting the right... Actually, no. Looking at the right foot because he's still putting the left one on. It comes up halfway through the shin, it looks like. They are very reminiscent of the New 52 boots. It's not so much a V at the front. It's more like a U kind of dip. But, and obviously they're still very leather-like. This is not something that you would have under your Clark Kent dress shoes. That's why he's putting them on separately. But yeah, I'm happy. They look like a good vibrant red to me. But they're very much a leather boot, Michael.
Yeah, you're right. They do have a very New 52 feel to them, with having the U and not the V. Uh, I, I came on preparing like to make a joke that if there aren't S shields on the soles of the boots, like the Superman Returns costume, I'm going to be upset. Um, I think the boots are the one thing I think all of the suits across Superman, like from like Kirk Allen to George Reeves to Christopher Reeve to Dean Cain to Brandon Routh to Henry Cavill to even Tyler Hoechlin. The boots are the one thing that are always like not the best thing about the costume, but they're always consistently good. I can't think of an outfit where I was just like, God, those look like crap. Um, I I got to see these in action though, because I'm wondering if that texture there is going to get lost when he's like walking or something.
Mm. Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I like them. I like the color. Um, I, you know, yeah. Now that you've kind of put that side by side, but no, I like it. I don't, I never always had a huge problem with his boots. As long as they were drawn well. I prefer the red boots because I think at one point he was wearing blue. Um, as long as as long as they look good and this looks good, it's nice leather. It's the red's a good color. I mean, again, until he really stands up and we see him in action, it's not as easy to say exactly how they look, but from what I see, I like them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we're all pretty much fans of the boots so far. And then last but not least, just closing off some of my notes there, we look at back up to the top and looking at his face, his hair, the look of David Corenswet. Look, we've got the wavy hair. We've got what looks like a natural kind of spit curl, S curl there. I mean, it's that's dropping there on his forehead to the side. I like the fact that he's got a little bit of a sideburn. That looks really good. All in all, I have no problems with the hairstyle or David Corenswet as as a person looking at his face and his facial features.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Oh,
I love the spit curl. Just absolutely love the
yeah.
spit curl. I love that this guy has that more classic comic book Superman look. And I say that because when you look at like George Reeves and Dean Cain, they both had kind of the swept back hair look. So it's not like having the wavy hair is a prerequisite. It just always seems to work out better.
Mark.
I've always liked the curl. I mean, the swept back look is not necessarily one of my favorite looks for Superman, but it's the way it's wavy hair. He's got more or less the S curl, and that's good enough for me. I'm not gonna complain. Any more than that. I mean, I think that's it looks really good to me.
Yeah. So thank you, Andrew, as well, for another super chat saying he hates the rebirth boot. Give him red anytime, and yeah, I'm pretty happy so far. Obviously, if I've learned anything in the time that we've been doing this, and Michael, you and I have been now we've had 3 or 4 actually costumes to analyze in live action. We've done Superman Returns, we did Man of Steel, we did Tyler Hoechlin, couple of Tyler Hoechlins, and now David Corenswet. If I've learned anything, it's not to judge the costume based on a photo still, but rather to see it in motion, in action. I mean, even in some of the animated features that we've seen, the costume, you think, oh, what is that? And then you don't even think about it once the movie's happening or the show is happening and you're watching Superman flying around, the cape's flapping, and it's a blue and red streak. And it's just like, really, it's not that big a deal unless you're sitting here looking at it as a still image, analyzing detail by detail. But all in all, are there things that I would change personally? Sure. I'm never 100% happy with any costume. Even the Christopher Reeve costume had issues, and we'll get to those when we talk about that next week. But it's Superman. It screams Superman. It looks like Superman. Overall, I would give this, just based on this one image, a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm there too. About a solid 7.5.
I'm actually going to go a little further. I'm going to give it an 8, mainly because I'm. It's so much better than it could have been. I got to admit, I was worried about the suit, especially with that one fake photo that was circulating around back around February. But yeah, I'll give it a solid 8. Like Steve, there's always something to be kind of crabby about, whether it's Christopher Reeve's costume or Dean Cain's costume, which was just too shiny, or George Reeves, which just kind of emphasized his knobby knees. I mean, it's just there's always something that's just going to be a little off. But the one last thing I want to say about the picture itself is I've seen so many people saying that he's looking nonchalant. Like there's this destructive thing happening and he's just putting his boots on. It's a still image. He's got this look on his face of he's like resolute. He's committed to something. And I think that's what the point of the picture and the framing of it is that this Superman, no matter what, is going to go out there and be who he needs to be. So I just, it was such an up and down day, guys. I gotta admit.
I'm with you.
Like seeing all the reactions to this has been exhausting.
Oh, tell me about it. It has just been crazy, and the nitpicking. And I saw one comment, and I reacted to it on our YouTube channel, was people saying, one person said, Snyder fans or Henry Cavill fans are putting their fists in the air right now. And I'm thinking, why? The Man of Steel costume had just as many reactions, negative and positive, as this has. It's just like, it's Superman fandom. Doesn't matter what we do, there are going to be polarized opinions, and just get used to it. It's not like anyone's winning. It's just, if anything, we're all winning because we're all Superman fans and we've got a new movie coming. Like, I don't get all the negativity. Seriously.
I don't know. People, and especially, I mean, I don't know, because I don't want to talk about Snyder fans and Man of Steel fans and that kind of thing. But, I mean, I think, like you said, we as Superman fans are getting a new movie where, obviously this is our first impression of this suit. And, until we really see it in action, we can't get a really solid opinion of it. Why someone would be so happy that they thought it was that it was bad, and that other people would be happy about it, but I don't know. I just, to say I don't understand Superman fandom is, I mean, hey, it's just, but I mean, I just don't think there's anything negative about it. Even if you don't like it that much, I don't think there's anything negative about it. It's something new. It's a new movie. We're getting a new Superman movie, and we should just be thankful, if anything, that it's so far looking, to me, more up than down.
And here we have a little photo that's just appeared online today before the show of David Corenswet in the gym. So for those who are saying that he's not big enough, image.
Well.
I'll just put that image for you.
I just don't think he's going to be allowed near school grounds with those guns. I mean,
yes,
it's just like he's a beefy dude, guys. I mean, seriously.
Yep, exactly. So that's our costume analysis of the David Corenswet Superman suit from the image that has been released by DC Studios and James Gunn. Looking forward to seeing more images as we move forward. But thank you guys for that. And thank you, Marc, for appearing once more to do a costume analysis for us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.